Actually, we'll start with air coming into the body. All right, so what's the first thing that has to happen for you to take a breath in? Physically. The diaphragm goes down, intercostals go up, away. Good. So once that diaphragm goes down, it's going to cause a vacuum. It's going to push that air in, right? That's called negative pressure, right? So negative pressure, I'll put it up here, negative pressure. Might not be able to see the pressure part. Brings air in. And what has to go down for negative pressure to be created? The diaphragm. Good. All right. So the diaphragm does this part. It's the diaphragm's job. So once that diaphragm goes down, air is going to come in. It's going to go into your nose and or mouth. It's going to go down through your pharynx. So it went down nasopharynx, oropharynx, laryngopharynx, and then it's going to go down through your trachea. Then it goes down to your bronchi, into your bronchioles, and finally, now we're here in the alveoli, all right? So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna get an alveoli, and I'm just gonna magnify it. I'm gonna make it really big, so I can break down what's going on inside the body, inside the alveoli, okay? So right now, this is one big alveoli, all right? That's just one of these. There's millions of them, but we're gonna take one out so you guys can see what's going on. So what's supposed to be inside the alveoli right now? What did we just bring in from the environment? What did we do? Oxygen, right?
Yes.
All right. So right now we have a whole bunch of oxygen that we just brought in from the environment that's just sitting in here. So O2, oxygen, 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 right? So that's all in here. O2, O2, O2. So what's happening right now is that here at the alveoli, that's where the blood or the vascular system meets the pulmonary system. That's where two systems meet. Okay? So around every single alveoli, you have super tiny blood vessels called capillaries. All right? They literally just go around every alveoli. And actually, what I'll do is I'm going to use this marker, a different color. So we're going to use, the blood that is going to the lungs is gonna be used up blood. If it's used up blood, it's gonna have low oxygen because we used up the blood that's what's been used up. And it's gonna have high what? What do you think it's gonna have high of? A lot of what? CO2, exactly. So the blood that's coming to the lungs is used up blood. So I'm gonna use the light brown as the used up blood. The used up blood has a lot of CO2. Okay, CO2. So that blood that's coming to the alveoli is coming with a lot of CO2. What do you think is going to happen to that CO2? It's going to get pushed into the alveoli. The walls of the capillaries, they're so small, it's so thin, it allows for molecules to go through. Okay? So all that CO2 is going to be dumped into the alveoli, right? You guys follow me still? All right. And now we're going to pick up the oxygen. So right here, the green is going to represent the vessel that goes around the capillary that's picking up the oxygen. So we're dropping out the CO2. And now we're picking up the oxygen. Right? So the oxygen is going to be attached, going there. And then all that happens to that CO2, what's going to happen to that CO2? You're going to push it out. You're going to breathe it out. So this, you're going to breathe out. And now you're bringing in the oxygen into the blood. So that's that gas exchange that I was talking about. Okay? So it happens right here in the alveoli. And so what's going to happen is these vessels here that just picked up the oxygen, these are called capillaries. So capillaries go around the alveoli, capillaries. That's the name of the vessels that go around the alveoli. And I'm gonna push this to the side to maybe, is it still good over there? Okay. So these capillaries are going to actually combine into bigger vessels. Okay, there's a whole bunch of capillaries, but we're just gonna make it one. So these bigger vessels are called, because they take blood to the heart to be pumped out. So it's gonna be a pulmonary vein. This is gonna be called a pulmonary vein. Okay, so what I'm saying is that all these vessels here, remember, like I said, this is just one little alveoli. So all this is happening to all these alveoli. So all these alveoli are gonna get all these vessels that are gonna start forming into their own. Okay, they start forming into bigger vessels. When they form into bigger vessels, we call them venules. Okay, veins take blood to the heart. Remember that. That's also something you guys should know. And I'll put it up here. If I can find here. So I don't have my glasses, so I'm blind a little bit. But so veins take blood to hearts. Okay, arteries do the opposite. Arteries take blood away from heart. Sorry, sloppy. Okay. All right. So then all of these pulmonary veins. Okay. So venules. Will form into veins, right? Those veins, it actually turns into what's called the pulmonary vein, because it's coming from the pulmonary system. It's coming from the lungs. So it's called the pulmonary vein, right? So it's actually called a pulmonary vein. Okay, and so from right here, I'm gonna erase this stuff. From right here, the blood goes to your heart. It goes to the left side of your heart. So I'm gonna draw your heart. So I'm just gonna draw the left side. So this is the left side of your heart. And it's dumping it into the left atrium. Okay? From the left atrium, it gets pushed down into the left ventricle. And then this blood has a lot of what? What do we say it has a lot of? Oxygen. So it's getting ready to be pumped out to your body. So this is how it gets pumped out to your body. The oxygen comes in through your pulmonary system at the alveoli. The blood picks it up, those little small vein capillaries that turn into venules, into a pulmonary vein, and then that blood gets dumped into the left side of your heart. On the left side of your heart is a big old vessel that actually leaves through the top of your heart. It's called the aorta. All right, the aorta. What I'm gonna do I'm gonna actually put it over here. So it's called the aorta, and I'm gonna say that it goes. All right, this aorta is gonna dump blood throughout your entire body. All right, it's gonna dump blood throughout your entire body, because what does your body need to stay alive to make ATP? Oxygen. So it needs oxygen. So all that oxygen is going into your body. Okay? At the body, what do we make with oxygen? I just said it. What do we make with oxygen? ATP. We make ATP. So here, we're gonna make the ATP. So we're gonna so oxygen is gonna meet glucose. Glucose comes in from eating food. We'll talk about that later. To make ATP, right? this happens in every single cell in your body. So this right here is happening in every single cell that makes every single tissue in your body. It's happening all over your fingers right now. It's happening all over your eyeballs. It's happening everywhere. We're making ATP. And if we're making ATP, what's gonna be the waste? CO2, and that's where the CO2 comes from. It's from making ATP with the oxygen we bring in. Just like when you put oxygen when oxygen goes inside your engine with the gasoline's the glucose. You make spark, it's ATP for the car. Carbon monoxide comes out of the back. Ours is carbon dioxide, right? This is how we make that waste. So you're gonna have the CO2, all right, that's coming out. All right, so from here, so just so you guys know, so again, this happens in the cells of the body, right? So we're gonna say that this is the cell right here. This oval is the cell, and the ATP is happening in the cell. What do cells make? You guys know? The body's made out of what? Organs. Organs are made out of tissue. Tissue are made out of cells. Okay? So this is actually a chunk of tissue. So that's a piece of tissue that belongs to an organ. And it could be any organ because it's happening everywhere in the body. Okay? So all these vessels, so again, cells make the tissue, and those little capillaries that we have over here. So capillary turns into veins. Veins go to the heart, right? The heart is gonna push that blood out through what? What's that vessel called? The aorta. Good. And there's a few things that I'm missing here, but it's because I'm kind of constrained on time with you guys. I got 5 minutes left, so I might go back to it and break down some other stuff because I'm skipping some stuff just for the sake of time. All right, so after that, it's gonna dump all that blood into the tissue. We got that CO2, right? Those capillaries. Well, actually, I'm gonna slow down a little bit. Let me go back just a little bit. All right, so this aorta is the vessel that leaves the left side of your heart, goes up, and then it goes down to the rest of your body, right? From there, it stretches out, and it turns into smaller vessels that can feed the body. And that's where this happens, tissue, cells, right? All right, so from the aorta, it's going to branch off into smaller vessels. We're gonna call these arteries. And then from there, these turn into smaller vessels that we're gonna call arterioles. And then from there, these will become smaller vessels called capillaries again. Okay, and that's where the tissue is. So again, we're dumping off the oxygen, O2. Oxygen's being dropped off, oxygen. And then what is the tissue made out of? Cells, right? And then oxygen meets glucose to make ATP.
So the tissue, is it like Charmin ultrasound tissue or maybe like?
No, that's actually a good point. So let's say, so an organ is an organ. So let's say, so organ is an organ, right? So everything is tissue. But a kidney is a kidney, a pancreas is a pancreas, a lung is a lung.